Good morning and welcome to Up NEPA. This morning we have the honor and the privilege of having an exclusive interview with Dr. Jonathan Jiya. Yeah, Dr. Jonathan Jiya is a trained medical practitioner and a seasoned administrator. He was once Director of Medical Services, Federal Ministry of Health, and he retired in the year 2010. So this morning, we are delighted to have him with us. Sir, you're welcome to Up NEPA.
Thank you very much.
Good
You're
morning,
welcome.
sir.
Good morning.
Okay, sir, let's quickly delve into what we have for you today before our audience start thinking that we're going straight to the medical. I know it's Up NEPA, so we talk about electricity, but today you're going to see a little bit of the medical aspect of it too. Okay, so there's been this debate on who should steer the Nigerian power sector. The engineers insist that for someone to head that department, it should be from the company of engineers, especially the electrical engineers. The engineers argue that since we have a Minister of Health as a doctor and a Minister of Justice as a lawyer, why can't we have a Minister of Power as an engineer? And also, on the other hand, some other people argue that they don't necessarily need an engineer to to head the power sector. What they need is a leader, someone who can navigate, the complexity of policy formation, someone who can secure budget, someone who is seasoned and experienced. So, sir, from your own points, who would you side in this debate? Who would you support?
Well, you see, if you look at the administrative system, the government system, you don't have to have an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer to be minister. Because all the minister does is to coordinate. And already in the ministry, you already have departments where you have professionals. Like if you look at the Ministry of Health, you have Department of Hospital Services, Department of Public Health, Department of Family Health, Pharmacy, and these are headed by professionals. So all you need at the top is somebody to coordinate. And also in the power zone, I think all you need is an administrator who will coordinate. Because come to think of it, it is only in recent times when the military came into power that you started having professionals in these ministries. In the First Republic, the Minister of Health was not a doctor. All you had was what they call either the Chief Medical Director or somebody who was the National Medical Officer. And in those days, in fact, the Chief Medical Director was next to the Prime Minister. That was how strong it was. So if you are looking at the power sector, since you already have an engineer, electrical engineer, I suppose, heading the Department of Electrical Services in the ministry, and you also have an electrical engineer heading NEPA, which is supplying power. You don't need an electrical engineer to head the ministry. All you need is somebody to coordinate these activities. If you look at the Ministry of Justice, Minister of Justice does not need to be a lawyer, but the Attorney General of the Federal, and that's why people have been arguing that Minister of Justice should be different from the Attorney General. And in most countries, you have the Attorney General is a lawyer because that is professional. Minister is coordinating. So, we got ourselves so worked up in this nation about heading, organizations. And well, I dare say, though I know I'll be crucified, that most people who want to head this place, they are looking at it for personal
gains.
Not for us, not for the public.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So, sir, from your experience working with the Federal Ministry of Health, will you tell us what is the role of a minister from your experience so far?
Well,
Is it political or administrative or technical? From which
the
role does it
minister
play?
is a political head,
And okay.
and he is there to guide and ensure that the manifesto of his party is implemented.
Okay.
Because, take for example, the party in power now, they have, or they are supposed to have, their health policy. So they bring somebody from their party, a committed party man, who knows what the policy of health or their health policy is, to head that ministry. Now he will now use the professionals in the different departments to implement, to make sure that their policies are implemented as per their manifesto. So you don't, in fact, if you bring a doctor, he's going to mess it up. Because if you bring a gynecologist, he will be thinking of only his field.
Yes.
If you bring a surgeon, he will be thinking of his field. But if you bring an administrator, you now coordinate. And in all the departments, you have other subgroups so that they will now advise those who are above them, to pass the information to the minister.
Okay. So from what you have just said now, especially looking at the fact that you have, while you were in service, you headed quite a number of departments. What would you say, who would you say is better to head? Would it be somebody who has the technical know-how, or a person who has adequate leadership skills?
The person who has adequate leadership skills is better. In fact, if you look at the First Republic, a lot of our ministers didn't have these technical skills, but they had administrative knowledge, how to manage human beings, how to manage resources, how to bring people together. And if you get this type of people, you're home. Yeah.
So, but from looking at the fact that some of these people who are heading these departments are not from the department, and you have just said that it is leadership, a person who has leadership skill is better. But looking, for instance, in this electricity sector now, the person who has a degree in that field, don't you think, since he has a degree, he knows a lot about the electricity sector, he knows a lot about engineering, don't you think that his degree should be a plus for him?
It will be a plus for him if he is going to manage NEPA.
Okay.
But if he is going to manage the ministry, he doesn't need a degree in engineering. In fact, he doesn't even need a degree in to be a mechanic. All he needs is administrative skill.
Okay.
But globally, which is more recognized, or which one is standard? Is it an engineer or administrator?
Or what is more obtainable now in the global?
If you look at Britain, their minister of power is not, or the minister of energy is not an engineer.
Okay.
He's an administrator. Take the United States, for example. The Secretary of Energy is not an engineer. He is an administrator, a politician. In fact, he's a politician. And also, if you look at the Ministry of Health, the Department of Health in the USA, the chap is, in fact, he is anti-health, and he's the Minister of Health. So, you know, it differs from country to country. But then the best person is a good administrator, somebody who can bring resources together, bring people together, and be able to coordinate the activities.
Yeah, basically. All right, that's thank you very much, sir, for all you have said. But then looking at just from the question I asked previously, so does it mean that now a person can have adequate knowledge of the electricity sector, he may be a good engineer, but at the end of the day be a bad administrator?
Very bad administrator. Okay. We've had it in ministry.
Yes, that was what I was going to ask now. Have you had any examples of such that you want to share with us?
Well, very many of them in the especially in the health sector. You have fantastic doctors. They come into administration, they mess it up. So you need a good administrator. And that can happen also in the engineering or in the power sector.
Okay. Okay, so tell us from as someone who has managed an agency with diverse personality, diverse complexity, what would you say it's more important, or which one is more paramount?
Mm.
Would you say it's a technical skill, leadership skill, or managerial skill? Which one is more important?
Well, if you ask me, I think the first is the managerial skill. Second is leadership. Then knowledge about wires and everything comes from the technical people.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So you're saying now that if the person has adequate leadership skills, has adequate managerial
Manage-
skills, he should be able to pull the
Pull
people who
this
knows
off,
has
yeah.
knowledge of the cables and all that along. All right, that's very true.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so if we are going to start advice, I have to tilt for a little bit battle. So if you're going to be advising the president today, what qualities would you prioritize in appointing anyone to lead the power sector? Like, what are the qualities would you look out for if we are talking, let's say, appoint a president for this sector, a minister for this sector? What are the qualities you would look out for?
First of all, I will look for somebody who is a party man, because we're in politics.
Okay.
Somebody who is a dedicated party man.
Can you break down that down a bit?
Committed to the party, committed to the
Okay.
ideas of the party. He knows, in fact, maybe he should be one of the people who drew up the manifesto
Okay.
of the party. 2, he should be a good manager of resources and people. 3, he should be good administrator. And that includes that managerial skill in resources and people. Because if you have these qualities, believe you me, they can throw into any this thing. Just like when you elect a president, the president is not the best manager, but maybe he's the best person who can mobilize people. So also, if you are putting somebody in a ministry, it should be somebody who has that managerial skill and who can mobilize people. These are the things I will look for.
Okay. So we believe that you have been here for quite some time before I and Vicky actually. Well, so we believe that you have lived through quite the transitions of the electricity sector from ECN to NDA to NEPA to PHCN to AEDC up to the current time. What would you say has advanced? Would you say that the electricity sector has advanced or it has declined?
It depends on how I look at it. Because in the days gone by, you never had, national electric system. The grids were localized to communities. And it was that, structure because of the ways our communities were established. For example, if you look at Mina wasn't more than Boso Road.
Wow.
Yeah, all these places were bush. When I first came to Mina in, I think, 1961 or thereabout.
Oh, wow.
It was railway. From railway, you trek across, come to the railway quarters, and that was the end of Mina. That's where you have those railway quarters. Then, by the time we came back, I think 73, I was in the university then, and my brother was here, so I came. We were going home. By the time Moikunkele was a small village. In fact, there was no light in Moikunkele. It was only GRA and some other suburbs here that had light. You won't believe it that even, what do you call this place? Bakungu. There was no light up till 1985. In fact, 1987.
Wow.
It was when David Mark became the governor of Niger State that he extended light to Bakungu. and all the places. Now, if what I'm trying to bring up is this, things have developed. Progress has come, but the progress is not commensurate with the demands of the people. And why is it not commensurate? Population explosion. We were generating power, but we are not fitting in the population. And why is that so? Because we are not managing our resources as required. Because if you knew that, okay, you are planning to expand Mina to such and such a place, you should be able to sit down and say, okay, what will be the requirements? So that by the time you are expanding to those areas, the provisions are there. You can't go to UK or America and then you just start building and pulling. No, you can't do that. But this is one of the problems that our people, we also create for the government. Because if I have a layout and I want to build 100 houses, and people just come and start building without approval, then it will be a problem.
True.
So if you blame me for building that, you blame government too for not stopping me from doing that. So I don't know. I always want to say that our problem is due to either our mentality, our village mentality, because most of us who are from the village, we just believe that, well, if there's any land, start building. But with our children coming up, with the knowledge they have, the technology and everything, I believe that these things will improve. So yes, there is improvement, but not commensurate with the requirements and demands of the people.
Okay, sir.
Wow.
Thank you very much, sir. It's okay. So would you say leadership in the power sector should focus more on delivering measurable outcome other than the professional background? Would you say they should focus more on delivering, just as you said, like there's improvements in life, but it's not commensurate to what the consumers need or
It's not commensurate to the demands.
So demands, yeah. So would you say they should focus more on delivering measurable quality than looking at professional background?
Well, I think you also need to consider the professional background if you want to meet up with the demands of the people. Because it's the professional who can sit down and calculate and tell you the requirements. For example, if I'm building 10, 20 or 30 more houses, the professional should be able to sit down and tell me, well, I will need this capacity of transformer. I will need this capacity of high tension. I will need this capacity of low tension, like 3311 and things like that, to supply this place. But if we don't have such, professional inputs, then we may be doing the wrong things. And that is why, in Nigeria you have problems. Like I said before, people just build haphazardly. And because of that, people also go around and just connect. Once they see where they connect, which is wrong. And that is wrong. But the government, the people, the responsible authority too, they don't do their work. Because it is they who go to connect for these people.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And if they do that, then problem comes.
So it looks to me like there's a bigger picture in the picture.
Yes.
That needs to be dealt with.
Yes, we have a big problem of administration, big problem of supervision, big problem of what do we call this thing? Anyway, let's continue. The word has gone off my head.
All right. So, but from what you said, there are there's a bigger problem here when it comes to setup. But we did not say Nigeria focus more on the paper and professional background instead of looking out for what it needs to be. Yes, you said professional background should be considered.
Yeah.
But in Nigeria today, what would you say it's happening? Is it that people are that we're focusing on professional background?
I think our problem is that our system looks more at paper qualification.
Wow.
They don't look at the skills of the person. For example, somebody who comes out from medical school, he has MBBS agreed, but he has not acquired that skill for him to be given a hospital to manage.
Okay. Yeah.
And if because of political maneuvers or things like that, a 10-year or a 5-year graduate from medical school, because he's from the village of the Senate president or he's from the village of the governor, you open a medical teaching hospital and you say, I'll put him there to be in charge. That hospital will fail. The same thing with our power system. If you don't give this establishment to people who are experienced, who know what they want, who know what should be done, then you kill the system. And I dare say that is what is affecting our power system in this country. Because you are generating, but you are not pushing out. And if you don't push out, it cannot be distributed. And why are you not pushing out? Because people have not put in the facilities. People are only interested in what they will gain. If you give me a Janko, let me say, and this is what government says I should put in that Janko, and I don't have the capacity, I don't have the people to do the correct things for me so that I get this capacity out. Now, the villagers or the community will want to have power, so they will go and provide those things. But because you don't have the capacity and the people to do the correct connections, your power will not go out, and therefore it will not be distributed. And where you are distributing, the people who are supposed to give the power to the consumers, if they put the wrong materials, your system will blow and they will not have the power. And you are not ready to replace that system. The people go and replace the system, and because of the corruption in the system, you don't connect. You want them to pay you. You want things to happen before they get, we have a lot of problems in this country. Like one senator said, and I was so ashamed that a senator who was a governor before said that he had to buy a transformer for his house. Wow. He had to buy, and I said, what a shame. He should have taken the government to task.
And that's even because he can afford it.
That's right, yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. I think before we leave, so what would you say to our audience out there about this debate, ongoing debate? What's your, final words?
Yeah, my final words is that people should consider the common man, because our system is going down. It's going down, and because those we have in position of authority are not interested in we, the common people. And if you are not interested in we, the common people, we too will not be interested in you. And the only thing we can do is to manage each other and ensure that Nigeria works. Sometimes I tell myself that if we had left the politicians whom the military removed in 1966, believe you me, Nigeria would have been much, much, much better. Much, much better than what we have now. Is it a cost? We went to school, we didn't pay anything. When we were in the university, we had people who were washing our clothes, press them, bring them to us. We had 2 in a room. And we had 3 well, I don't know whether it's square or round, 3 meals every day. And, when you tell the children this, they begin to look at you and say, can this be true?
Yeah.
Is it true?
Life was much easier then.
It was.
much
And that is also because the population explosion was not there.
Yeah.
When we were medicals, we were only 35 in my class.
Wow.
But when my daughter was in medical school, there were 200 in the class. So, we need to balance population, we need to balance resources, we need to also look at our needs and the requirements and how to bring them together. So Nigerians be patient and do the right thing. Because if we don't do the right thing, then the politicians will also not do the right thing. Yeah.
So everyone has a role to play in this.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you very
so
much, sir.
Thank you.
It's
Welcome.
been an amazing time with you,
Thanks.
thank you for enlightening us.
Thank you.
And it's been a wonderful time and this wonderful exclusive interview with Dr. Jonathan Jiya. He is a medical doctor by training and an experienced administrator. It's been a wonderful time, and I believe you were also enlightened. Well, we've come to the close and the end of today's interview. My name is Victoria, and with me is Korode Kolo. And we want to say keep watching UpNipa and watch out for this particular episode on our Facebook at UpNipa platform and on YouTube at UpNipa_platform. So stay tuned and don't go anywhere. Thank you very much.